Year 3172. The Galactic Union's grand arena floated in the black of space like a jewel. 100 banners of different alien worlds shimmered in the artificial light. This was the week of the Unity Trials, the biggest contest in the known galaxy. Every year, the most advanced species sent their champions. The Craft-Thor brought their bone-armored wrestlers, each strong enough to crush steel with bare hands. The Jareen sent their silent telepaths who could break an opponent's mind without touching them. The Karvash sent pilots so fast, their ships could spin between laser beams. Iralthi sent engineers who could build a working machine from raw or in under an hour. The trials were not just for sport, they were a show of power, a reminder to all races which species stood. At the top, for over a century, humans had never entered. They were newcomers to the Union, still considered a minor race. Most alien historians called them primitive survivors of a small blue world. In bars across the galaxy, it was a joke. Humans. Let them watch. They're good at watching. But this year, that joke ended. On the first day of the trials, a tall figure in a dark flight uniform walked into the registration hall. His name was Captain Elias Kane, a starship officer from the Terran fleet. His hair was black, his face lined from years in deep space. He carried no special weapons, no armor, no glowing alien device, only a datapad and a calm, unreadable expression. When he signed his name onto the competitors list, the Union registrar, a four-eyed Theran clerk, froze. Human? Competing? Elias gave a single nod. Yes, the news spread through the arena within hours. By evening, the alien news feeds were full of it. First human in history enters Unity Trials. Crowds gathered just to stare at him. Some laughed. Some looked curious, as if trying to guess if it was a publicity stunt. The Craft-Thor wrestlers chuckled openly. Of them, a mountain-sized alien with tusks like daggers leaned down and said, "What skill will you show, little human? The art of hiding? Running?" Elias didn't flinch. You'll see. The Jareen telepaths tried to read his thoughts. But humans had a strange mental noise that made their minds hard to scan. All they sensed was focus. Cold, sharp. Focus. In the evening, a council reporter asked him directly, "Captain Kane, why enter now? Humanity has no known abilities that match the Union's elite. Do you have a secret weapon?" Elias met the camera lens like he was looking through it, into every viewer's eyes. His voice was calm, because there's one thing no alien can do like us. The word spread across the arena like a spark in dry grass. Every alien wanted. The salmon is someone, I'm someone, and some, I'm to the end, to their salmon, I'm some, there on them, and some to, I'm to mine, I'm sometimes, I'm some, I am to some, to the wind of, the Union's betting networks lit up with guesses. Human strength, human endurance, human stubbornness. Some said he was bluffing, that he would be eliminated in the first round, but the rules of the trials were clear. Competitors could keep their chosen skill a secret until the final event.
Ow.
Until then, all anyone could do was watch. The first day of events began with opening ceremonies. Champions from 100 worlds walked the wide stage, each showing their gift. The Craft-Thor crushed boulders the size of small ships. The Jareen bent entire rows of drones to their will without moving a muscle. The Kurvesh flew through a maze of spinning debris with their eyes closed. When it was Elise's turn, he walked forward alone. No weapons, no display of power. The crowd booed and laughed. Someone shouted, Show us your skill, human. Elias simply looked out at the endless rows of alien faces and said, "Not yet." Then he walked back to his seat. The alien commentators called it arrogance. The Crafther called it cowardice. The Jareen called it misdirection. But the Terran delegates in the crowd, a small group of human diplomats and officers, stayed silent. Their eyes never left Elias. Later, in the competitors' lounge, the champions gathered around him. Some tried to provoke him into revealing his plan. Others offered deals, alliances to share victory. Elias refused them all. In the far corner of the lounge, an Arath the engineer whispered to a fellow competitor, "He's not here to win. He's here to prove something." That night, alone in his quarters, Elias stood at the viewport. Beyond the glass, the stars drifted slowly by. He thought of the centuries humans had spent in the shadows of the Union, underestimated and ignored. He thought of Earth, scarred by wars, rebuilt by stubborn hands. He thought of the one skill his species had carried since the first fires in ancient caves. Tomorrow, the trials would begin, and with each round, the galaxy would learn why. Humans were never to be underestimated, but not yet. For now, Captain Elias Kane closed his eyes, breathed deep, and waited. The mystery hung in the air like a blade above the arena, unseen, but ready to fall. The mockery the next morning, the arena's great shields opened to let in the glow of the twin suns. Billions of viewers across the galaxy tuned in.
Ow.
First rounds of the Unity trials had begun. Elias Kane walked onto the first event platform. Around him, the other champions stood ready. Massive Crafther warriors flexed their bone-plated arms. The Jareen telepaths stood perfectly still, their black eyes unblinking. The Krevesh pilots adjusted their flight helmets, fingers twitching in rhythm with unseen controls. Event announcer, a booming voice from the insectoid Zithra race, echoed through the stadium. Round 1, the test of reaction. In the center of the platform, a ring of glowing drones floated, each programmed to fire harmless but blinding flashes. The goal: dodge and disable as many as possible before time ran out. Fast reflexes were the key. When the whistle blew, the Crafther lunged, smashing drones out of the air with huge fists. The Krevesh zipped and spun, striking with surgical precision. The Jareen didn't even move. The drones simply powered down as their minds reached in and flipped the circuits. Elias moved slowly. He dodged a few flashes, tapped one drone so gently it spun away, and then stood still again. It wasn't failure, but it was nowhere near the speed or control of the others. The scoreboard put him last. The crowd laughed. The alien commentators didn't hold back. Primitive reflexes, as expected. Humans have no place here. When the round ended, Elias walked off without a word. In the corridors, a Crafther champion, the same tusked giant who had mocked him before, stepped in his path. "You won't survive the second round, human," the alien growled. "Better to quit now than humiliate yourself further." Elias met his gaze without fear. "I'm still here. That's all that matters." The second round took place in the engineering bays beneath the arena. The challenge: build a functioning device from a crate of mixed scrap and alien tech in under an hour. The Arathi engineers dominated instantly, their long silver fingers moving like liquid metal. Even the Krevesh built simple, functional tools. Elias sat at his table, sorting through parts slowly, as if studying each one for a long moment before deciding whether to use it. By the end of the hour, his device was little more than a half-completed frame. The scoreboard lit up again. Last place. Now the mockery was everywhere. Alien broadcasters cut highlight reels of his failures. Social media feeds lit up with jokes. The human skill is being slow. Maybe he's here for sightseeing. Should we tell him this is a competition? That evening, in the competitors' dining hall, the champions gathered at long tables. Elias ate quietly at one end, alone. Conversations around him were loud, full of laughter. The Crafther roared about their victories. The Jareen sat together, whispering telepathic comments that made their faces twist in faint smiles. Finally, one of the Arathi engineers called out across the hall, "Human, tell us, are you saving your skill for the very end, or is This all you have?" The hall went quiet, waiting for his answer. Set down his fork, stood up, and looked around the room. "You think I'm losing?" he said calmly. "Maybe you're right. Maybe you're wrong. But the trials aren't over. And some games aren't won in the first rounds." He sat down again, leaving the room buzzing with whispers. The next morning, the third round began, the endurance gauntlet. Competitors had to survive a brutal obstacle course in extreme conditions: blazing heat, freezing cold, toxic fog, and crushing gravity zones. This time, Elias didn't finish last. He didn't win either. But while others collapsed or were carried off by medics, he kept moving, one step at a time, until he crossed the line. The humans in the crowd cheered for the first time. The alien commentators still dismissed him. Persistence is not enough to win. Survival is admirable, but this is the Unity Trials, not a human endurance test. By the end of the day, Elias was ranked second to last overall. Only a wounded competitor from the minor Falter race was behind him. Stood again at his viewport, looking out at the stars. His body ached, but his mind was steady. Every loss, every laugh, every alien who thought he didn't belong, it was all part of the plan. The real test was coming. And when it did, the galaxy would understand exactly what humans could do that no alien could match. The fourth morning of the Unity Trials began under heavy clouds. Lightning flashed over the arena's sky shield, throwing strange shadows across the stands. Billions were still watching, but now many tuned in for a different reason: not to see the champions win, but to watch the human finally get eliminated. Elias Kane walked out to the platform with the same steady pace as always. He showed no sign of the bruises from the endurance gauntlet, no sign of nerves. The other competitors looked sharper than ever, except the wounded Falter, who was limping badly and clearly near the end. The announcer's voice cut through the noise. Round 4, the Team Strategy Challenge. This was different. For the first time, the champions would be grouped into mixed species teams. They would face a simulated battle scenario: defend a base from waves of incoming drones while securing energy cells across a vast terrain. Elias's team included a Crafther warrior, a Jareen telepath, and a Kurvesh pilot. The Crafther leader grunted when he saw Elias. "You follow my orders, human? Don't slow us down." Elias simply nodded. The simulation began. Holographic terrain spread out around them: rocky cliffs, narrow bridges, deep valleys. Enemy drones swarmed in from multiple directions. The Crafther charged straight into the fight, smashing drones with wild strength. The Kurvesh took to the skies, strafing targets from above. The Jareen closed her eyes, disabling distant machines with her mind. Elias didn't rush. He moved between positions, picking up fallen energy cells, repairing damaged barriers, patching the team's communication link when it glitched. At first, the others barely noticed him. They were too busy showing off their strengths. But as the battle went on, something changed. The enemy drones adapted, targeting the Kurvesh's flight path, overwhelming the Crafther's brute force. The team began to lose ground. That's when Ilias's voice came over the comms, clear, precise. "Dreen, switch. Focus to the southern pass. Crafther, hold your left flank. Don't chase. Kurvesh, drop altitude and draw them toward the canyon." They didn't want to listen, but something in his tone made them obey. Within minutes, the tide shifted. The drones bottlenecked in the canyon where the Crafther crushed them. The Jareen shut down entire clusters at once. The Kurvesh dove and picked off stragglers. When the timer ended, their team had not only survived, but scored higher than any other. The crowd roared. Even the alien commentators hesitated. Unexpected, the human coordinated the field. It seemed so. Intriguing. After the round, the crafter warrior approached Elias in the corridor. For the first time, there was no mockery in his voice. "You see the fight differently," he admitted. Elias gave a small smile. "I see the team." The next challenge was even stranger than negotiation trial. Competitors had to face a simulated interplanetary crisis, with each side holding valuable resources the other needed. The goal: reach an agreement without war. Most champions approached it like a contest of wills, pushing demands, making threats, showing dominance. Deals collapsed quickly. Elias's turn came. He sat across from a towering insectoid representative, its mandibles clicking in frustration. He didn't interrupt. He didn't posture. He asked questions. Short, simple, but cutting straight to the heart of the problem. Within minutes, the tension eased. The insectoid made a small concession. Elias matched it. Step by step, they built trust until the simulated treaty was signed. It wasn't flashy, but it was one of the fastest, cleanest wins in the round. Now the galaxy was curious. The alien commentators stopped laughing. They began to ask, what? Is this human's game? Is he a strategist? A manipulator? Or something else entirely? By the end of the day, Elias had climbed from second to last to the middle of the rankings. The falter competitor had been eliminated, leaving only the strongest in play. That night, Elias stood alone in the arena long after the stands had emptied. The great shields above shimmered with the last of the lightning. He closed his eyes and breathed in the silence. He could feel it. The others were beginning to watch him differently. No longer just a curiosity, now a threat they couldn't quite understand. The final 2 days would decide everything. And Elias knew the moment was coming when he would have to show the galaxy the one human skill no alien could match. The pressure mounts. The 5th day of the Unity trials began. With a storm not outside but inside the arena, rumors were spreading fast. The alien media channels buzzed with speculation about the human. Some claimed he was secretly enhanced with hidden technology. Others whispered that the Galactic Union was protecting him for political reasons. Of it was true, but the effect was real. Elias Kane now had a target on his back. The next event was the Adaptive Challenge, a brutal test where the rules changed without warning. Competitors entered a huge shifting arena filled with moving platforms, sudden traps, and unpredictable hazards. The objective: survive until the final buzzer. This time, competitors were not grouped as allies. It was every species for themselves. From the moment the challenge began, Elias felt the shift in the air. The Varaxian champion, with skin like polished steel, positioned himself to block Elias's path. The crafter warrior, who had worked with him the day before, now stayed distant. Even the Jareen telepath kept her mind shielded, avoiding him. It was clear they were going to test him, push him, maybe even force him out. The platforms shifted, creating wide gaps. Laser grids activated overhead. Acid mist drifted in from one side. Competitors leaped, climbed, and dodged with impressive displays of alien agility. Elias didn't try to match their speed or power. He moved deliberately, studying the pattern of the shifting floor, noting which hazards repeated. He kept his breathing steady, conserving energy. Halfway through, the Vraxian made his move, deliberately triggering a collapsing section beneath Elias. A long section of floor gave way, dropping toward the acid mist. Gasps echoed through the stands. The fall was too far for a human to survive. But Elias didn't panic. He shifted his weight at the last second, using the collapse to launch himself sideways. He grabbed the edge of a nearby platform with one hand, hanging for a heartbeat before pulling himself up. The crowd erupted, not because it was the most spectacular move of the day, but because it was smart, efficient, and calm under pressure. The Varaxian scowled and moved on. Minutes later, the rules changed again. Now competitors had to collect scattered signal keys while still avoiding hazards. The others sprinted, fighting each other for the keys. Elias took a different path, staying on the edges, letting the chaos burn itself out. When the final buzzer sounded, he had fewer keys than some, but he was still in the top rankings. And more importantly, he was still in the game. After the event, the press cornered him. Captain Kane. How do you keep surviving these challenges? Are you hiding a secret ability? Elias gave the same small smile. No comment. That only made the speculation worse. The next event was pure spectacle, the arena duel, where each competitor faced another in a one-on-one match. It wasn't meant to injure. The goal was to force the opponent to touch the ground outside the ring. Elias's opponent was the Crafter warrior. The crowd roared. This was the rematch they wanted. The Crafter came in hard, using sheer strength to try to push Elias out. Each blow was like a hammer. Elias didn't fight back with force, dodged, shifted his stance, let the Crafter's momentum carry him too far. The alien grew. Frustrated, swinging harder, moving faster, until one poorly judged strike sent him stumbling. Elias stepped aside, guiding his opponent just far enough for one foot to slide outside the boundary. The match was over in less than 3 minutes. The Crafter stared at him, breathing hard. "You don't fight to win," he said quietly. "You fight to not lose," Elias only replied. "Sometimes that's the same thing." By the end of the 5th day, the rankings shocked the galaxy. Elias Kane, the human no one expected to last a single round, was now in the top 4. Only the Jareen telepath, the Viraxian juggernaut, and the insectoid tactician remained above him. That night, Elias sat in his quarters, reviewing the day's footage. He knew tomorrow would be different. The final rounds would not be about survival. It would be about showing the galaxy something unforgettable. He reached into his bag and pulled out a small worn object, something from Earth, something no alien in the arena had seen before. He turned it in his hands. The corners frayed from use, the surface marked by time. The skill he had been hiding since day 1 was almost ready to be shown. The arena was silent as the finalists entered. For competitors, for species, one final event. The Galactic Union called it the impossible problem, a test not of strength, speed, or power, but of something far rarer. Competitors were locked inside separate chambers and faced a challenge designed to be unsolvable within the time limit. No one had ever completed it. The judges didn't expect perfection. They wanted to see how you tried. The Jareen telepath floated to her chamber with her mind already scanning the puzzle's layout. The Viraxian entered with a glare, his heavy frame radiating confidence. The insectoid tactician clicked his mandibles, already calculating dozens of moves ahead. Elias Kane stepped in last.
Wow.
No one knew what his challenge would be. Inside his chamber was a table covered in scattered objects, gears, wires, crystals, strange tools. Above them hung a holographic projection of a device that didn't exist anywhere in the galaxy. The rules flashed on a screen. Assemble the device, no instructions. Time limit, 1 hour. The crowd watching from above leaned forward. The alien champions had already started, the telepath scanning the minds of the technicians who designed the puzzle, the Viraxian smashing pieces together. With brute force, the insectoid sorting parts with blinding speed. Elias didn't touch anything at first. He just looked. He circled the table, eyes moving from part to part. His hands stayed still. "Why isn't the human starting?" commentator asked, the audio streaming across the galaxy. He doesn't know what to do," another replied. "He's frozen." But in truth, Elias's mind was moving faster than his hands. He wasn't trying to memorize the device. He was trying to understand why it was designed this way. The angles, the materials, the way the parts might connect in ways not shown in the hologram. 20 minutes passed. The others had half-built structures. Elias had built nothing. Minutes passed. The Viraxian's device collapsed, shattering into useless pieces. The insectoid was halfway done, but had already run out of one critical component. The telepath was frowning. The minds she was reading were deliberately feeding her false solutions. At the 35-minute mark, Elias finally picked up a piece, then another. His movements were slow at first, then faster. He didn't follow the hologram exactly. He made small changes, adjustments, corrections. To the crowd, it looked like he was improvising wildly. To him, it was precision. The commentators began whispering, "Wait, he's not building their device. He's building something else." With 10 minutes left, Ilias's table looked nothing like the others. His creation was smaller, simpler, but cleaner. The final minute ticked down. The insectoid's design jammed. The telepath's device flickered and died. The Varaxian roared. In frustration, throwing his broken machine aside, Elias. He stepped back. His device sat on the table, humming softly. The buzzer sounded. Judges entered each chamber to test the devices. One by one, the alien creations failed. Then they reached Elias. A judge tapped a small control on his device. The humming deepened, the parts shifting smoothly. The holographic blueprint above flickered, and then changed to match his design. Gasps echoed through the crowd. The system was recalibrating itself to the human's version. How? One judge began. Elias shrugged. Your design was flawed. I fixed it. The Varaxian snarled. You cheated. Elias looked at him calmly. No, I understood the problem. You tried to follow the pattern. Yeah, I tried to understand. The reason behind it. For the first time, the alien commentators stopped mocking him. There was something in his tone, not arrogance, but certainty. The scores came in. Elias was tied for first place with the Jareen telepath. The final match would be between them. Back in the preparation room, a Union official tried to interview him. Captain Kane, the galaxy wants to know, was this your mysterious skill? Problem solving? Elias smiled faintly. Not exactly, that was just the first step. That night, the alien news networks replayed the moment his device worked. Analysts debated whether humans had a hidden technological edge. Historians dug into old records, looking for signs Earth had been underestimated. The truth was simpler, but also far more dangerous. Elias knew that tomorrow, in the final event, he would have to reveal the real answer. And once the galaxy saw it, nothing would ever be the same. The final reveal, the last day of the Unity trials, dawned with an energy the arena had never felt before. Billions were watching through holofeeds. In every corner of the galaxy, screens lit up with the image of the human captain who had surprised everyone. Two competitors remained, Elias Kane, representing Earth for the first time in history, and the Jareen telepath Lasera Ven, who had never lost a final match in her life. The announcer's voice echoed across the stadium.
Final event.
The negotiation, the crowd murmured. This was not a test of building, fighting, or mental puzzles. This was a simulation where two sides had to reach an agreement under strict time pressure. The twist. The other party in the negotiation was programmed to refuse cooperation. Each competitor was placed in their own chamber. The opponent they faced was a council of alien AI diplomats, cold, logical, and impossible to manipulate. Lasera smiled as she entered. Her telepathy would let her read every thought, every hesitation, every hidden motive. She was certain she'd win. Elias took his seat in his chamber. The AI diplomats appeared as tall, glowing figures, their voices calm and measured. Captain Kane, you must convince us to give you the star drive coordinates. I do not wish to. The timer began 30 minutes. Lasera started her negotiation in another chamber. She read the AI's thoughts instantly, predicting their refusals, countering every excuse. Her words were sharp, logical, efficient. Within 10 minutes, she had backed them into a corner. But the AI still refused. Elias didn't start with facts or threats. He asked them about themselves. He listened. He laughed at one of their artificial humor protocols. He made small mistakes on purpose, letting them correct him. The crowd watching grew restless. What is he doing? One commentator muttered. He's wasting time, another said. But slowly something strange began to happen. The AI's responses shifted. Their tones softened. They began offering small pieces of information without being asked. Lysera pushed harder in her chamber, and the AI shut down completely, refusing all communication. She had failed without realizing it. In Elias's chamber, the AI leaned forward. Captain Kane, why are you not using tricks or demands? Elias smiled. 'Cause I'm not here to win against you. I'm here to win with you. For the first time in the history of the trials, the AI paused, and then agreed. Coordinates appeared. In front of him, the buzzer sounded. The crowd erupted. Judges rushed to confirm the results. Lysera had failed. Elias had succeeded. The human was the new champion of the Unity trials. When the Union Council asked how he had done it, Elias gave the answer the galaxy wasn't ready for. The skill? It's not strength, it's not speed, it's not intelligence, it's something else. Humans can connect, truly connect. Even with something that's not alive, we can make others want to help us. We call it empathy. Billions of alien viewers were silent. In a galaxy ruled by logic, power, and competition, the idea that understanding another could be a winning strategy was almost unthinkable. Lacera approached him afterward. No telepath can fake that. No alien I know can do that without a motive. Elias nodded. Yes, that's why you didn't see it coming. The council awarded him the Unity Crown. The human flag was raised for the first time in the arena's history. And somewhere across the galaxy, species that had never thought of humans as more than fragile primitives were asking a new question. What else are they hiding? As Elias left the arena, a message came through on his private comm. No name, no signature. It's just words. You proved it. Now they will fear you. Be ready.